Let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really brilliant and, honestly, incredibly timely analysis from Sriram Gopalan. It's called Part 2, Only Humans Rate Code, How to Use AI Without Firing the Doorman. Now, if you've been following this massive industry-wide push to integrate AI into software development, you've probably watched companies make some absolutely catastrophic organizational mistakes, all in the name of speed and cost cutting. Well, this explainer is going to show you exactly how to steer clear of those traps. I like to keep things super structured, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover 5 key areas. First, the doorman fallacy revisited. Then, only humans can write code. Third, token mining versus token maxing. Fourth, when automation backfires. And finally, we'll wrap up with the smart company playbook. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the doorman fallacy revisited. This is really about a fundamental misunderstanding of what developers actually do all day. Think about it like this. Imagine a hotel completely fires its doorman because they just installed automatic doors. The core assumption there is that a doorman literally only opens doors, right? But that completely ignores the fact that a good doorman also spots suspicious behavior, they keep intoxicated guests from wandering around the halls, and they remember returning clients. If you assume a doorman only opens doors, or that a developer only writes code, you fall straight into this trap. You convince yourself an AI can simply take their place. You automate the obvious, visible task, and you completely blindside yourself to all the invisible value. Because when companies try to just swap out human developers for AI, a massive amount of that invisible work just gets orphaned. Think about it. An AI doesn't sit in on a tense sales call to transit a vague customer complaint like, hey, the app feels slow, into a concrete database architecture problem. It doesn't negotiate with the legal team on data retention policies. And it definitely doesn't hold the line on quality during a high-stress product launch by pulling a junior developer aside and mentoring them. Sure, AI can draft a spec or maybe suggest a unit test, but it does not and cannot actually take ownership of the responsibility. Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. Only humans can write code. This is where human skills really have to build on top of AI capabilities. So here's the crucial takeaway. Yes, AI can write code, but only a human can write code. Rightcoding is all about AI-assisted development that explicitly optimizes for correctness, security, and long-term ownership. It's not just about vomiting out as much code as possible as fast as possible. We all know that just leads to a totally unmaintainable mess. Rightcoding actually means taking real human responsibility for what ships and making sure it survives over the long haul. And to understand why only humans can pull this off, we can look at MIT's EPOCH framework. This brilliantly maps out the capabilities that prove human judgment is complementary to AI, not replaceable by it. Think about presence and context, knowing your system's deeply messy history, and understanding why that one weird, ugly hack exists in the codebase. Or opinion and judgment, refusing to just accept, well, the AI said so as a valid engineering argument. Or hope and leadership, actually optimizing your software to last for years, instead of just surviving the next 2-week sprint. Human judgment under uncertainty is the absolute core of rightcoding. Let's move into our third section, token minting versus token maxing, where we uncover this massive, fundamental clash of incentives between humans and large language models. See, humans are the ones who have to look at that massive AWS invoice at the end of the month. And more importantly, humans are the ones who get woken up for the 2 a.m. on-call emergencies. Because of that, humans have a deep vested interest in this discipline called token minting. AI has literally no concept of a cloud bill or debugging pain. Its internal reward system just wants to produce outputs that look helpful to you, which usually means generating as much code as the context window will possibly allow. It's really a tale of 2 entirely different reflexes. On side A, you have token maxing. That's the AI reflex. If you ask an AI agent to fix a minor bug, it might just rewrite an entire file. Because to the AI, compute is cheap. But on side B, you have token minting, which is the human reflex. A developer practicing rightcoding uses short, precise prompts. They ask for small, composable changes. They generate just enough scaffolding and then handwrite the critical logic. Left to its own devices, AI will naturally drift toward incredibly expensive token maxing unless an empowered human steps in to rein it in and token min. And that leads us to Section 4, when automation backfires. We're shifting from theory to the very real nightmare scenarios playing out in engineering orgs right now.
55%. That is a staggering number. According to a report by OrgView, 55% of companies that replaced employees with AI are now openly acknowledging that they moved way too quickly. The sheer hype totally blinded them. And now some of those very same companies are desperately trying to rehire the exact people they just let go.
You could actually trace this disaster as a highly predictable three-phase timeline. In phase 1, the first few months, it's just pure enthusiasm. Headcount gets slashed, lines of code are spiking off the charts, and leadership thinks their velocity is a miracle. But then phase 2 hits, slow degradation. Incident recovery slows down to a crawl because nobody actually understands the AI-generated system anymore. Your remaining senior developers just burn out, trying to review mountains of AI slop. And finally, phase 3, the bill comes due. A major rewrite is commissioned because the system is literally unmaintainable, and the company has to go out and rehire humans at a massive premium. It's exactly like we said. You fired the doorman, installed automatic doors, and suddenly realized your lobby is a complete danger zone.
So how do we avoid that? Let's hit our final section, the Smart Company Playbook. These 4 steps are the blueprint for achieving true augmentation, pairing human depth with machine breadth. Step 1, use your AI to aggressively strip away the tedious, low-epoch boilerplate work, like generating test skeletons. Step 2, keep your humans firmly, unquestionably responsible for architecture, trade-offs, and security. Step 3 is absolutely vital. You have to make Rightcoding the professional standard. AI provides the drafts, humans provide the decisions. And step 4, actively reward the developers who practice tokenminning. You want to celebrate keeping codebases lean, understandable, and cheap to run. But to actually make that playbook work, you have to totally overhaul how you measure success. Smart leaders are broadening their definition of efficiency. You have to move away from those old vanity output metrics, things like how many lines of code did we write or how many tickets did we close. Instead, you need new metrics focused on epoch-heavy outcomes. The questions you should be asking are, how many incidents did we avoid this month, or how fast can we respond when the system inevitably breaks? That is how you measure a truly healthy, resilient engineering organization. Sriram Gopalan really just nails the entire analysis with this one thought. If your AI strategy is fire the doorman, you don't have an AI strategy. You have a cost-cutting spreadsheet. AI is an unbelievable tool. It can paint the door, it can decorate the door, it can instantly propose 5 new door designs, but it cannot greet the guests, and it certainly cannot quietly fix a crisis before it erupts. So, I'll leave you to ponder this absolutely critical question for your own organization. Will you fire your doormen? Or will you train them to use the automatic doors so they can do their real jobs even better? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. If you found this breakdown valuable, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can keep mastering these massive tech shifts together. Catch you next time.